In 1917, when war is raging, brothels become popular establishments, especially for wealthy men. Exposed to a world where women are a source of entertainment, the daughter of a harlot gets swept by the norms of society. At a brothel in New Orleans, Violet, a harlot's daughter, watches intently as her mother, Hattie, gives birth. The girl announces to the staff that the baby is a boy. Professor, their resident pianist, ironically plays a happy song, while dedicating it to the infant who has no choice but to be born in such a cruel world. Violet enjoys his music and observes the adults' activities around her. Madame Nell, the brothel owner, greets their guests, wealthy men or high-ranking military officials. Months later, Violet attends to her crying brother, Will. She gently hushes him as her roommates are still sleeping. She carries Will and heads to their mom, who's still in bed with a regular guest called High Pockets. Violet gently wakes her, but the mother angrily drags her out of the room, scolding her for disturbing her. The daughter argues that Will also disturbed her sleep, so Hattie carries her son to feed him while muttering complaints. Violet notices her mom's earrings, and Hattie shows the real emeralds. The girl expresses interest in inheriting them, but the mother firmly states they're forever hers. Soon, Madame Nell summons her to attend to her needs, and the youngster complies. Hours later, while Violet and her friends Antonia and Nani play around, Red Top, a delivery boy, arrives. He boasts about his exciting experiences, so Violet follows him for more stories. Upon hearing the knocks, the youngster opens the door, and she finds a man carrying big luggage. She immediately tells him to use the other door before heading to the kitchen. Violet lets the man enter, and he introduces himself as Balak, a photographer. The nursing mother catches his attention as he stares in awe at her. The owner dismisses Balak since her employees are asleep at this time. As she walks away, Harry, another employee, helps Madame Nell reach her destination. Balak insists that Hattie can be his subject. However, the owner declines his request, so the photographer offers her money while Violet curiously observes. Madame Nell permits to use Hattie, and the photographer excitedly prepares to work. Soon, Balak photographs Hattie, but Violet keeps commenting about her mom's appearance. The photographer scolds her for being noisy, so the mother tells her to leave. Balak says it's alright to stay as long as she's quiet and notices that the beautiful girl looks like Hattie. The mother tells him that Violet is her sister, which the daughter immediately corrects. High Pocket suddenly storms toward them while commenting condescendingly toward Hattie. Then he notices the emerald earrings and snatches them away, so Hattie pounces at him and they roll to the ground. That evening, while preparing for the night's work, Mama Moseberry, their resident esthetician, applies some colored liquid on Violet's legs and declares that she'll have so many men in the future. Fanny, Hattie's colleague, arrives while dragging Belloc around. The photographer politely informs the daughter that he has something to give her mom, so Violet shows him her bathing mother. Belloc immediately turns around in shame and the daughter grabs the man's gift. She opens the envelope and sees a beautiful photograph of her mom. One night, High Pockets causes a commotion and insults Madame Nell. Josephine, Hattie's colleague, sneaks behind him and hits him with a hammer. The gambler collapses and the owner commands Harry to get his remaining money before throwing him out. Hattie panics upon seeing the man's state and argues with Madame Nell, so the owner tells her to leave with the man. The emotional Hattie packs her bags while her colleagues watch her skeptically. She proclaims that she wants to live as a respected woman, but her co-workers imply it's far-fetched if she'll run away with the gambler. She remains stubborn and scolds Violet for not packing up with her. The daughter firmly states she'll stay, so the mother blames her for being the reason why she can't live the life she wants. Violet argues that her mom can leave since she's always denied her as her daughter. Hattie cries as she expresses how everyone else except her can live how they want. Soon, things return to normal, and Violet observes how her mom targets another man to replace the gambler. The girl notices Balak standing at a corner, watching her mom, so she asks him why he frequents the place but never takes women for entertainment. The photographer avoids answering the question, but Violet remains curious, so she asks about the man's age. He says he's old, but the girl's inquiries contradict his earlier statements. Tired of the probing, Belloc firmly tells Violet that he doesn't need to explain to a child. The feisty youngster argues that she's old enough but suddenly bumps into an older client. She and Frida, the older man's partner, assist him to a chair. A soldier spots Violet and jokes around with her. Madame Nell sees how the girl attracts attention and whispers something to the man. The soldier instantly declines her offer, pointing out he's just kidding with Violet. Afterward, the girl asks Frida why she keeps entertaining the older client. The woman tells her that the client can be her ticket out of the brothel despite his age and appearance. Her mom enters the room with another man and introduces her daughter. The client praises the girl for being pretty, just like her mom. Violet follows them, and the adults continue their night activities as the observant closes the door. Sometime after, Balak photographs the mother and daughter, but he'll always find a chance to take solo pictures of Hattie. Unlike when taking photos with Violet, Balak turns more meticulous when photographing the mother. The curious girl touches the photographer's film, and the impatient man slaps her. He immediately apologizes, but instead of talking about the matter, Violet tells him that he loves her mom. Hattie instructs Balak to leave her sulking daughter, but the photographer remains by her side. Soon, the brothel employees prepare Violet for her first night at work. Red Top gives her the 9th bone of a black cat's tail that he claims to bring good luck. Frida and Josephine advise the newbie on how to act in front of the client to keep him entertained. Still, Violet proudly tells them that she knows what to do, so the professor adds that her gorgeous face and beautiful dress are all she needs, with additional diamond ornaments to imply how much she's worth. Madame Nell engages the clients more as the main event approaches. Fanny stares at Violet thoughtfully and remarks on how time flies as the girl will now let go of her innocence. Finally, Violet is presented to the clients as she sits like a princess on a platform the staff carries. Madame Nell emphasizes her purity as a selling point, and thunderous claps follow. The staff hurriedly helps the newbie change her clothes into a lace white dress to show her innocence, as the owner announces everyone to move to the parlor for the bidding. The men scrutinize her like a product, and Violet waves at Balak, who's watching from afar. Bidding begins at $100 and ends at $400 by an unknown man. Applause echoes in the parlor, and the music resumes celebrating the client's win. He immediately hands over the cash to Madame Nell and offers liquor to Violet, which she chugs empty before charming the man. The client carries her to their room, and Hattie's new target, Mr. Fuller, remarks that he's displeased with that scene, so the mother drags him away to get down to business, leaving Balak, who's been spacing out since earlier. Violet and her client enter the room, and the man discovers the door has no lock, so she explains that it's the establishment's policy. But the man remains silent while walking closer to her. Moments later, her scream is heard, especially by her roommates, who are worriedly waiting outside the room. As the night ends, the people turn more silent than usual as the professor plays the piano. Balak asks Madame Nell if she's feeling guilty, but the owner declares that she's delighted. The women notice Violet's client leaving and hurriedly head to her room. They see the unconscious girl on the bed. Hattie rushes to her daughter's side, and Violet opens her eyes, complaining that it took the woman too long to visit her. She stands up but feels the pain, so everyone assists her as she jokes about her situation. Madame Nell escorts a new client to Violet's quarters the following day. The man expresses concern about the disease spreading in the city, but the owner dismisses this by saying that the girl is still pure. They barge into the bathroom where Violet is bathing, and Madame Nell introduces the two to each other. One day, Hattie and Mr. Fuller announce that they're getting married in his hometown in Missouri. Everyone congratulates them, and Madame Nell sarcastically remarks that she finally caught one. Afterward, the mother asks her daughter to come with her. She explains that her new husband only knew that Violet is her sister, but he doesn't mind about Will, so she thinks he'll accept her daughter when she finds the time to confess. Rather than responding to her mom, Violet offers her some butter. The husband reminds Hattie that their train is departing soon, so the couple leaves the brothel with Will. The mom bids goodbye to her daughter as she promises she'll get her. The women enter the house and play hide-and-seek with Balak. The ladies discover their hiding place, and they joke around with the man. Before they leave Balak, Violet confesses her love for him. Days pass, and the girl becomes more accustomed to her job, which bothers the photographer, so he confronts Madame Nell. The owner tells him that Violet's doing well since she's earned a lot of money, and the only reason that Balak bugs her is because he's in love with the girl. The following day, the photographer resumes his job. Violet interrupts him, but he urges her to leave, so the frustrated girl insults him before storming away. Due to her temper, she disturbs the chicken in the barn and charms Red Top and Nani. But Ola May, Nani's mother, arrives and scolds the girl. Violet argues that she can do whatever she wants because being intimate with each other is what everybody does. The angry mother lectures her that people of color don't go to the brothel's upper floors to do such things. She adds that she's a woman of religious beliefs, so Violet should keep her hands off Nani. Madame Nell arrives and agrees that the girl is going too far, so she calls Harry to whip Violet. Balak criticizes this method, but the owner dismisses him. Afterward, Violet marches toward Madame Nell to stubbornly declare that it didn't hurt. She immediately packs her bags and courageously leaves the brothel. She arrives in front of an old house where she sees Balak through the window. The man lets her in, and the youngster confidently explores the house without proper explanation. Violet asks why the rooms are locked, and the photographer answers that intruders occasionally come. The uninvited guest mentions that the neighborhood has turned worse due to the existence of establishments like theirs. Violet claims another bedroom, and Belak welcomes her, so she excitedly asks if the man can be her lover and visit her regularly at work when she returns. The photographer expresses his hesitation and stresses that he's a different man, but with Violet's conviction, he gives in, and the youngster proclaims her love for him, which leads to their first intimate night. Violet wakes up alone the next day with breakfast and a note for her. She devours it happily and disregards the letter after failing to read it. Evening comes and Belak returns home. Violet confronts her for leaving her alone, but the man explains that he left a note. His lover confesses she's illiterate, so he calms her down by presenting a gift. She excitedly opens the box, which reveals a beautiful doll. Soon, the man photographs Violet with the doll, but her curiosity due to her age makes her impatient during photo sessions. The following day, she converses with her doll, expressing her bitterness toward others who are free to do what they want. Moments later, Belak asks her about his missing photography chemicals and finds out that his lover threw them away for no good reason. He scolds Violet and prepares to head to town to buy his things. Violet's discontentment grows, and one day while Belak takes her photo, she ruins his films to vent her anger. The photographer catches her in the act, and Violet mocks his profession. The angry Belak kicks her out of his studio, and the girl cries while banging on the door. She returns to the brothel and finds an angry mob before their establishment. They insist on closing down the business due to the disease they spread. Red Top escorts Violet inside, and they see Madame Nell burning money as a part of Mama Moseberry's incantation to remove the owner's curse. Sometime after, their business finally closes, and the professor plays one final song. Madame Nell can only sit on her bed and stare blankly at the doorway as events unfold before her. The brothel's employees bid each other goodbye as they venture to find better opportunities. Fanny asks Violet if she's heard from Hattie, so the daughter explains that she's receiving postcards but with no return address. Everyone stares at her pitifully, and she gloomily walks away. She strides down the road as their establishment's furniture gets loaded into different carriages. She soon realizes that Belak is walking beside her, and he proudly tells her that he's marrying her. Violet jovially asks him if she can tell the remaining employees, and hours later, they all gather in a church with the bride and groom. The priest asks about the bride's background, so Belak explains that her mother abandoned her while her father passed away in the war. The priest asks about Hattie's origin, and the innocent bride proclaims she's a harlot, which the women giggle upon and surprise the officiant. The simple wedding ceremony is conducted peacefully, and Belak drives his wife and the women to the reception. They cheerfully sing, but their car gets stuck in the mud, so they all go down and head to the riverbank in their undergarments due to the dirt on their clothes. As they spend the remaining hours together in a picnic reception, a group of men in a boat jumps off to play around with them. Belak watches them satisfactorily, and Violet approaches her husband to offer him food as a good wife should. Afterward, the newlyweds spend their peaceful moments. One day, as they eat breakfast, Belak notices his wife's strange food inclinations. She says she's not feeling well and plans to sleep all day. The husband asks if the women taught her to avoid having a child, but the wife angrily claims she knows how. Belak goes along with her, and Violet turns cheerful upon seeing how her husband cares about her. Then she notices Hattie walking toward the house, and they affectionately hug each other. The mother explains that they've been looking everywhere for her. Mr. Fuller arrives while patiently assisting Will to walk. Hattie tells her daughter that her husband already knows their real relationship and wants the family to be together. Violet explains that she has a home now and is married to Belak. The photographer greets his mother-in-law, but Hattie confronts him regarding the unconsented marriage. She adds that Mr. Fuller has handled the legalities, so Belak argues that the mother deserted her daughter. Mr. Fuller mediates the fight and rationally explains to the photographer that he wants to give Violet a better life by sending her to school and raising her property. He pulls Belak aside to point out that they aren't perfect parents, but Hattie has overcome her past and wants her daughter to do the same. The husband yells that he can't take his wife away because she's his life. Violet tells him that he can come with them, and upon realizing that his wife wants to go with her family, Belak doesn't respond to her invitation. Hattie urges her daughter to leave all her things, since they can now buy her necessities while waiting for the train. The couple stares at each other, but with the silent Belak, Violet turns to hug her mom. Mr. Fuller is about to say something to the man, but seeing his devastated look, he decides to remain quiet. Afterward, the Fuller family, with a decently dressed Violet, waits for their train. The father takes a couple of photographs of his wife and children, while the girl stares intently at the camera lens.
Subscribe to watch more videos like this, turn on notifications and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.